Welcome back to Beards and Brews. This week's review is going to be The Blues Brothers from 1980.
This is the first time that I've ever seen the Blues Brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, the first time in my life that I've seen the Blues Brothers.
Ladies and gentlemen. The first.
I saw this when I was younger, and it was lost on me. It wasn't nearly as much fun as I had now watching it.
This movie is a lot of fun. It's a little long in the tooth, but there's something magical about these guys being completely straight-faced and just absurdity happening around them.
Yeah, and the fact that they're oblivious to the absurdity.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's like a love letter to R&B and Chicago, and you kind of get into it. Watching it nowadays, it is kind of like a slog. It could be cut down a little bit, I feel. But
Yeah,
I don't know, there's something there.
To me, I feel like, honestly, like, there was a lot of fun parts of it, but realistically, a lot of those fun parts maybe overstay their welcome just a hair.
There's a lot of time taken to set up a joke where the punchline is legitimately the last, 2 seconds of a scene. And
yes.
I kind of respect that, but
it could be streamlined for sure. Like you said, they'll spend 10 minutes setting up one gag, and the payoff isn't that brilliant for the setup. I mean, it really goes to show how quirky the characters are, which is a lot of fun. You definitely feel like by the end of the film, you know these two guys.
yeah.
But the jokes, they could have been streamlined. Especially the fucking dance numbers, those could have been streamlined too. Like, I don't need to hear the entirety of 2 songs per dance sequence.
I agree and disagree. I agree to where it needs to be chopped down a little bit. Like, there's probably a TV edit out there that's really fucking stellar, but I still think the payoffs, the jokes are still fucking amazing. The whole, what do you call those hot box scenes, the where they sweat out or whatever.
Oh, like the sweat lodge,
Yeah, the sauna.
yeah,
Dude, that
The
was
sauna scene. Yeah, that sauna scene. They're just talking, whatever, exposition, and that joke right at the end still gets me every time. But I think it's the musical numbers. I love the soundtrack to this movie, but they just dance a little too much.
when it happens, I get why it happens. What I could do without is the, exposition in the car that is just pulled away, showing the car driving to a soundtrack of, whatever rhythm and blues songs they decided to use. And that goes on a lot.
I think I would have that over the musical numbers. And, some of them are really good, but other ones just overstay their welcome. Because I feel like the conversations in the car are just so cold and just whatever, while just the world around them is just getting wacky. So I like it.
I don't want to make it sound like we're just going to shit all over this movie. I think all of us enjoyed it to a certain degree, but there's problems.
It's
It's
made
good.
for fun time.
Now, if we want to take it for what it is and what it was meant to be, a Saturday Night Live skit come to life, it's a hell of a ride for anyone who's into a quirky movie. It's goofy, it's funny, it's got these scenes that are just gonna make you go, what the hell? But you're smiling the entire time.
I feel like during that era of Saturday Night Live, though, the jokes were a little bit even more over the top, where there's in the Blues Brothers, there's a lot of just straight-faced, this is life, this is what we're doing, and then you'll get just a drop of ridiculousness, where, SNL, you didn't have to take yourself out of that lie.
And the movie starts like that too. You see Chicago, but not Chicago downtown. It's super lively, super full of life. It's just disgusting Chicago with these factories just pumping out smoke into the atmosphere and just dreary nonsense and just ghetto neighborhoods.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the Candyman slum Chicago.
Yeah.
Nice. I was thinking, fucking the opening of Final Fantasy VII when it's zooming around Midgar.
Yeah.
But from there, we casually crawl up to the prison where good old Jake Blues is being held.
I didn't realize until 25 minutes into this movie that his last name was Blues. That's why they are the Blues Brothers. It's not just because they're in a band that plays the blues. I just want to get that out there.
He's a victim of circumstance.
Hey,
Mr. Boinky Dink.
victim. I thought you called it your pecker.
But yeah, so old Jake is getting out of prison, getting released 2 years early.
Soiled prophylactic.
One unused prophylactic, one soiled. That I don't know why they kept that around. I guess just because that belongs to him. The state's decision to take that away from him.
I mean, depending on how long he was in there, they just kept it for the joke. It's the long game. They just played the long game.
That guy's like, I'm gonna be here. He's gonna be here.
Yeah. No, like we don't know that he was the guy that put that in that box. It was probably some dude fucking 3 years ago that was just like, man, the guy that gets us out of this box, it's gonna be funny. Let's do it.
Just some guy in the far background you just hear laughing in the distance.
Yeah,
Eric,
that guy probably worked
in there,
job
man.
for 2 months.
Or it could get like super dark where like the dude, or Frank Oz, the guy who's doing like the little bit, you just see him like cut to him going to a graveyard. It's like, you got him, buddy, you got him.
Oh. Fucking Don Knotts or some shit, and it's like the pun master.
Oh.
But I really liked whenever they finally let him loose from the prison. The fucking way they lit the back of that is like him walking out of the pearly gates. It was a really well shot scene.
It's really cool. This movie has a lot of like spiritual elements. Of course, they're on a mission from God, and they just have like these like little isms that kind of like creep up on you, and they're like really nice to look at.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd doesn't smile through the entire film, and neither does Mr. Belushi.
Mm-hmm.
But during the intro, when it's showing them like look at each other face to face, right at the end, if you're paying attention, Dan Aykroyd he loses it and it starts to smirk, but then it cuts away.
Honestly, there's a lot of those times with John Belushi where I think like they're just he's just about to like break out and just burst out laughing at something, but he doesn't. He holds it.
That whole scene at the country western bar, absolutely.
Oh, whenever like the bottles are busting and the shit's spraying on their faces.
Yeah.
They're like,
and he just has to like stand, and he has to just stand like cold, cross-armed, just like, head him up, move him out.
That was a good scene. Mostly because I do enjoy the rawhide theme.
You were one of the fellas just jumping up and just having a
Hell yeah! I would have been, man, the celebrations in this film are so fucking hammy.
It's good though. Like especially in the church. You know what?
Oh,
Fuck. So anyways.
See, I was like, I vaguely remember the Rawhide theme, and then like halfway through the song, which they played the whole ass theme.
Yeah, they did.
Not even the TV edit, they played the whole last song, and I was like, oh yeah, this is actually pretty okay. Then they played it again.
You gotta close the night with something strong.
I guess.
You
It's
know?
like when I saw Blue Oyster Cult and they played Don't Fear the Reaper 3 times.
Well, you got to make sure you're not afraid.
Well, they gotta get it for all the people, their fan base is old. These guys are walking off to go take pisses and they missed the song, so they gotta play it for the next group.
I guess
Oh
so.
no.
Gotta go empty my bag.
Oh. But yeah, we got Elwood picking up Jake at the prison in what looks to be an old beat-up cop car, and that's exactly what it is. It's an old beat-up cop car.
They were practically giving them away.
They didn't have the caddy anymore because, traded it for a microphone.
Jake is just bitching at him, just like, where's this? Where's that? Everything's kind of changed and kind of for the worse. He's like, well, where's the caddy? Where's the Cadillac? Oh, I traded it for a microphone. And he's like, okay, fair enough. Just like, okay.
That's fine. Better not trade it for this car, though.
He does kind of stop complaining about the car once he puts the pedal to the metal and drives it up over what do you call those bridges? The ones that separate? So a drawbridge. Yeah, he jumps it over a tug bridge. Drawbridge, fuck. He jumps it over a drawbridge, and he's like, oh, it has good pickup.
You gotta get the cigarette lighter fixed, though. And this because he threw the fucking thing out the window in a rage.
Yeah. And that's like the first little hint of just like ridiculousness. But I just drove this fucking thing over a drawbridge, flying it across the river, landing perfectly.
So the next thing we know, they pull into this. What is it? A
St. Helens Orphanage.
Orphanage,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, we find out that as a kid they grew up in an orphanage, and they were kind of raised by this nun who they call the Penguin, and it's an elderly black guy who's taught about the rhythm and blues.
Who definitely, to me, reminds me of the cartoon version of Duke Ellington on Big Mouth.
Fair enough.
But this leads to a really good scene whenever they go visit the nun. That shit had me cracking up. Because he sits down and he's like, have a seat, and they sit at these little desks, and she's like, nah, up here with me. And instead of like sitting in the chairs near the desk, they just fucking scoot the little desk like in front of her desk.
It's so silly. Like, they didn't have to do that, but you're thinking, how else would they sit in front of her? So, okay, whatever.
I was gonna say, like, that scene definitely to me reminds me of like something from SNL or even All That, Good Burger, something like that.
It's something for the kids.
Yeah, just like a little stupid skit.
And of course, the penguin or the nun or whatever is just not having anything. Smacks them around a little bit with their ruler because they can't stop cursing up the joint. And so they try to escape after they find out that they need like $5,000 to save the joint. Fucking Jake is so goddamn fat he can't wiggle his way out of the desk, and he winds up falling down the fucking stairs inside of it.
In the desk, rolling down this thing like fucking cartwheel style until it breaks apart. And the shit that made me laugh the most in that was not even the falling down piece. It's when Dan Aykroyd's getting whacked with a ruler, and Jim Belushi can't get up and get away. But Dan Aykroyd's like, fuck this noise, and just gets up and runs off set.
Yeah, that made me laugh. I mean, that fucking she broke a ruler on top of Dan Aykroyd's head. That's amazing.
Yeah, they're going at it, and he's just like, fuck this noise, and takes off. That shit had me good.
That was pretty good, actually.
Then, they have to get spiritual, so he's going to go take him to a sermon, and the sermon is led by Reverend Sweats with a Z. That's our boy James Brown.
Okay, yeah, that's one more thing that I want to talk about is, like, there's so many... I didn't know who all was in this, didn't know anything about it coming into it. There's so many unexpected cameos where I'm like, that's fucking James Brown! What the...
Yeah.
This
and like
is the first, it will not be the last.
Oh no, even at the end of the movie makes sure that you get every single person that you might have missed, because they have their own like little cameo credit with full film footage of them.
Right.
Yeah.
But one thing that did throw me off about this scene is you can tell that it was filmed separately from this, like, the boys actually watching them. Like, you can tell that they're not in the same room at the same time. Anybody else? No?
No,
I mean,
the sermon was too
I
lit.
feel like this...
it was just, the sermon was too lit for me. Like, they were fucking doing trampoline flips and cartwheels. I mean, I haven't seen shit that hyped up since a squirrel went berserk in that sleepy little town of Pascagoula.
That's the power of Jeebus.
Yeah, I mean, I wish they would have stuck around for, like, the next track, because that fucking beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, that is my jam.
Well, they couldn't stick around because the Blues Brothers are full of the Holy Spirit and cocaine.
One of my favorite little things is fucking when he comes up with this idea that he's going to get the band back together. Jesus H. Tap Dancing Christ, I have seen the light.
He's like glowing blue.
Yeah. And they're just like, the band! To which Elwood replies, the band, question mark, the band. And they just fucking have this idea, just like, get the old Blues Brothers band back together so they can make the $5,000 to pay for the orphanage's taxes and save the day. Thus, they're on a mission from God.
True. But it turns out the band is not together, and Elwood has been lying. Nay, bullshitting Jake.
Not lying, just bullshitting.
I'm just bullshitting you. Just bullshit.
Shit was funny.
Like,
man, I'm gonna tell that to my kids when I tell them about Santa Claus.
So, what happens now is they get pulled over by the fuzz, and hilarity ensues.
I just love how casual this whole thing is. It's like, I haven't even been pulled over in 6 months.
They probably have that system to track people that are in the system.
Scubs, or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, there's some kind of trendy acronym.
Some like scrotum. I don't know.
It don't matter. None of this matters.
But they gotta get away, so they drive into a mall.
Yeah, he just punches it. They fly out away from there, and A car chase ensues. They end up in the mall, as you do.
Inside the bubble of the Blues Brothers, everything is normal, but outside is completely wild and crazy. Yeah, just chaos. And as they're driving through this mall, crashing into whatever they please, they're just like, oh, hey, look, a bookstore. Wow, this place has everything.
When did they start selling baby clothes?
The new Oldsmobile are in early. You know, they're just like fucking product placement, name dropping, maybe for budget constraints. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Window
You get
shopping
a nice,
as they crash through them.
you get a nice couple looks at the Toys R Us and the J.C. Penney. A couple looks at the J.C. Penney.
But the amount of destruction that they and the cops caused is fucking baffling. The cops are literally doing donuts, tearing shit up.
Like right through center court. Yeah, we're talking about this like as if it's just like a quick short scene. I feel like this scene lasted like 10 minutes.
They
just destroyed everything with no regard for the poor proprietors that have to come back to work there tomorrow.
I don't know what the bill is going to be just to the public on their taxes, but because they go through probably 300 cop cars in this movie.
Oh my god, yes.
I mean, they smash them, they crash them, they flip them over, they're sliding all over the place upside down. I don't know, they're just like being tossed around like Hot Wheel cars.
Yeah, it's just Matchbox fucking just toss them out on the floor and start smacking them together with a 3-year-old. And you're like, yeah, this is how we play cars.
Oh my god, that would explain the end of the movie, especially on that end of the highway.
Mm-hmm. Hey, this is car 55. We're in a truck.
May he rip in peace. So this entire time they're being chased, like through these interludes and just whatever, they play the Peter Gunn theme, which is like this really catchy, like bluesy, like little detective theme that just carries on through the whole picture.
Yeah, it's really good.
And it has great comic timing too, because something just world crashing would happen, and as they're walking away unscathed, it just decides to play as they walk away.
Yeah, it's almost like the Pink Panther theme. You just play it when something nonsicles happen.
So at the end of this little scene with the car chase, you get the main cops that were out chasing them. Of course, their flip turned over. You know, chaos has ensued.
Like, take a band, just sit right there. Sorry.
I was going to do the same thing.
You get a little taste of the
taste the fuck.
Taste of the fuck. You get a little taste of what's about to come because the main cop guy, whose name I don't know, says, "I'm gonna catch that sucker if it's the last thing I do." So you know he's
at it again.
So Dan Aykroyd or Elwood has like a little place, legitimately little place, in an apartment building in downtown Chicago.
It's
and they like
labeled
park
a
a little
hotel,
car.
actually.
And it's more like a closet with a fucking refrigerator.
Parole.
They're about to go inside, and that's when we meet Miss Carrie Fisher herself, who used to go out with Jake before he went to the Slammer. And through this entire picture, she has nothing to do besides try to assassinate them.
Yeah,
in the most ridiculous ways.
Yeah, she just has these military-grade weapons, just standing around with them. I'm gonna shoot a fucking rocket launcher at you. Missed. Well, I'll try again next week.
I mean, just crank out that third weapon sheet on San Andreas. You got the good stuff.
She was just fucking shot 3 goddamn rockets at him. It blows up the entire side of the wall. They just drop to the ground, get up, dust themselves off, open what's left of the door, and walk inside like literally nothing happened.
Dude.
Yeah, this is my brother. He's gonna stay with me for a couple weeks. All right. Yeah, nobody inside is phased whatsoever.
Nope. Rocket explosions are common. As long as you got someone's fucking can of Cheese Whiz, you're good to go.
I guess he had that in his back pocket through the whole time, which is even crazy.
He was driving with it in his pocket. I mean, fuck it. Because what blew my mind was, okay, this was one of those things I was talking about earlier with the thing that I thought was going to come back. I was like, oh man, this cheese is going to save the day or some nonsense. Watch. And then nothing but cheese, and I was heartbroken.
And it's really weird because this is like screenwriting 101, right? So if you want something to happen at the end of your movie, you gotta put something at the beginning of your movie to set it up. Easy, right? So Elwood works at a glue factory, right? because they use it later on in the movie, but they take fucking 15 minutes for him to just be at the factory, hanging out for a little bit, steal a couple cans, and then go to his boss and quit.
When did that happen? I don't remember that at all.
It felt like filler, like it took way too long.
Evidently, because it just washed in front of my eyes. I don't remember that whatsoever.
Maybe it was the sound of the L trains going by every 4 seconds, just totally just blurred your mind.
Well, it was so often that I hardly noticed them.
The fact that he made toast with a clothes hanger. Nobody?
Gotta do what you gotta do. I love that's his diet of the whole movie. It's just white bread toasted.
You gotta get your carbs, man. You gotta keep your energy high.
I want 4 fried chickens.
And a Coke.
And a Pepsi. Oh, a Coke? Is it Coke? Alright, we can do that over again.
I want 4 fried chickens. God damn it.
Yeah, is that Carrie Fisher again? Is that who does that?
It's John Candy is coming to get him.
Oh, yeah, okay. I feel like I would have liked this movie more if John Candy was more in there.
I love John Candy.
This movie made me miss a lot of people.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
There's a lot. Well, I think he just died of being fat.
Are you sure?
John knows Candy?
Yeah, I think John Belushi definitely died of cocaine abuse. But I think John Candy just died of like heart failure.
Probably due to cocaine. We'll say diabetes. Fuck it. Yeah, John Candy's there. They're about to bust in and, catch him in their tiny apartment because they were using the address for Wrigley Field as their fucking, their home address. But the cops figured that out and they're like, oh, we're going to get him right now. Carrie Fisher sees this and she's like, if anyone's going to get him, it's going to be me. And she Justin Timberlake blows that shit up.
So far they've got the cops, the Chicago police, and Carrie Fisher on their tail.
And the entire building around them crumbles into dust. I mean, this whole building just is demolished. And they're just like, oh, wait, I gotta be at work. Dust themselves off.
Yeah, they just almost fall out of the rubble.
Yeah.
Then they go to visit not Quentin Tarantino's wife.
Fucking joke. Like, it's not even a joke. It's just the fact that it's just like, hey, is this Toronto's place? Tarantino. I'm just like, all right.
See, I hardly remember this either. Like, I know it happened. I know they stopped, but it just seems so like...
It's just one of those things I was describing earlier where it's just like, really long scene, joke, next scene. And the whole setup is that they go to this guy's house to get information where he is now. We find out that he works at some just like crappy Holiday Inn. And the joke is, they're not cops, they're musicians. Do 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 do. It's just like whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard that. I thought it was a fun, cute little line. I don't know about calling it a joke though, but I mean, I get it.
Didn't you just? Man, I'm about to have a John Candy over here.
I'm in the truck.
All I'm saying is the movie would be just fine without any of that scene.
100% agree. Like, I like the line. The line's funny, but they could have put that line anywhere in it.
Literally anywhere.
Driving around in the car and someone's going to be like, you guys cops? No. We're musicians. And it would have landed just as well.
Yeah.
It's definitely a throwaway gag, and the 10-minute setup is completely unnecessary.
It's almost like, is that the joke? Are they just playing a joke on us? Like we have to sit through it, and I know that people do have to sit through it.
Joke on my fucking free time.
Yeah. Oh.
We get to meet the band, or at least some of it, and they're like, "Hey, band, look at you guys," and they're like, "You in that candy-ass monkey suit." And I don't know if you guys know who Daniel Bryan is, but he's a wrestler nowadays.
Yes.
And as soon as I saw, yes, okay, then you know what I'm talking about. As soon as I saw the one guy, Murphy, or what, maybe Murphy, the fucking white dude with the beard, I was like, what the fuck is Daniel Bryan doing in there?
He's a saxophone player.
I'll play the Sousafax.
Anyway.
But they learned that, Mr. Fabulous, another member of their band, is a maitre d' over at a local fancy smancy restaurant.
Wearing a
It's,
bow
what?
tie.
It's like Chez Frank or something like that is the name of the restaurant. Supposed to be a fancy
expected
French
when they
restaurant.
walked in for them to see, our boys from Oh Brother Where Art Thou sitting down with Big Dan.
I like how that's such a Chicago thing. Like Chez is just like a fancy French word you put on a restaurant. It's like, hey, it's Frank.
I feel like that's got to be like a Ferris Bueller reference to like where they go into that restaurant. What was that restaurant? I don't know. Something similar.
I don't know. Well, yeah, they're both Chicago movies and something about the King of Sausages.
Yeah, Abe Froman.
Sausage.
We can cut all this.
That's fine.
Did you guys catch Pee Wee Herman as one of the waiters?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like in every scene there's like somebody where I'm like, is that Pee Wee Herman?
Well, this is before that, so he's pre-wee.
No.
Pee Wee Herman. All right.
No. See, he was Pee Wee Herman until he was caught masturbating in the theater. Then he was Paul Rubin.
Oh, no.
We're trying to convince old marvelous Mark Marrow to come back to the fold, and he's like, nah, man, I ain't doing it. So they sit down, order some super expensive fucking champagne, a bunch of shrimp cocktails, and start acting the fuck up.
And I do
Honestly,
love it
they're
when...
not really doing anything awful.
Bro, he asked if he could marry the dude's fucking child. He's like, how much? I'm
married.
No. He offered to
wanna-
purchase them individually. Right. How much are your women? I want to buy them.
Yeah.
That's not so bad, right? You just want to purchase someone's fucking child?
It was the 80s. It was a different time.
Oh, no.
All right, let's keep going.
I lost my shit about twice in this movie, and this was one of the scenes. Whenever he's like getting his wine or his champagne poured, and the guy's like, "That's the wrong glass."
Yeah.
And he's just got his and his face is all squished up, like, "I don't fucking care." And he just shakes the glass at him. I fucking lost it. I thought that was brilliant. He's like, "Give me the cash."
Yeah, that is definitely not the glass for champagne, but it could be.
Ooh.
Ooh.
What I've got today is another beer from Cigar City Brewing Company. It's called Maduro, or Fuck. I've been pronouncing this wrong the whole time. Maduro.
I'm thinking, is it like a rolled R? Like Maduro?
I'm sure it is. I can't do that, though.
What the fuck ever, I don't know.
But this is a good, solid, guys, the words aren't coming to me.
A good, solid brew, bro.
This is a good,
then the
solid...
words start coming in, they don't
Oh,
stop.
fuck. We the Brews brothers.
I was thinking that.
Oh.
Yeah. Dude. Hang on.
I was about to do it too, dude. Yeah, the fucking Brews brothers.
5.5 ABV. It's just a good, solid, middle of the road, not too sweet, not too dry brown ale. Lots of, I know it's kind of relevant to the conversation, but it's really toasty. Yeah, it's got a lot of toast notes.
Just like
wood.
Yeah,
just like Elwood's diet.
A little bit of brown sugar, a little bit of coffee.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's actually really good. I don't like brown ales that are too sweet. This is not too sweet. This is just about perfect. I like this a lot.
Well, it's good. It's good. Coming out of Florida, I'd expect it to taste like Gatorade. But, alright.
When we hear that, Florida, sponsor us.
All right, fellas, let's press on.
Nazis.
Yeah, the next thing is they drive through some Nazis. Inevitably, we get the maitre d', their maitre d'.
Stage 2. Nazis.
I hate these guys.
Inevitably, we get their maitre d' friend to agree to quit what he's doing and start back in the band.
I love that little bit where the really annoyed guy, whose wife was trying to be purchased, and he's just yelling, "Sir! Sir! Sir!"
Yeah. like at any moment the world was going to end. Just, sir!
I need customer service. No!
Karen! We're leaving!
Yeah.
So the next thing you know, we're driving again, and there's a Nazi demonstration, a
rally.
Like a whole full-ass Nazi rally in Illinois. They're Illinois Nazis.
Yeah, decent, law-abiding white folk. just like you.
Obviously.
I love how the cop wrangling the little traffic in the area is just kind of like, these lousy bums, they won their court case. What lousy bums? Illinois Nazis! I hate these guys. It's just so like casual that there's just a bunch of Nazis just hanging out in the park.
So how do you solve it? Attempted mass vehicular manslaughter in the name of God.
Nah,
it was a musical version of the fucking Crusades.
Yeah. I love how there was a split second where there's no way he's not gonna stop. Oh wait.
Yeah, he just like you hear the engine roar to life as it gets closer.
That's that pre-catalytic converter engine right there.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can use regular gas. You don't have to settle for that newfangled, good for the environment, unleaded bullshit.
Go ahead.
So the fellows float towards South Chicago with a lot of hustle and bustle, a lot of open markets, and in that market, a couple of their band buddies, they open a soul food shop, which is owned specifically by Aretha Franklin, with John Lee Hooker just outside singing his one hit. Chicago's a silly place.
Lots of singing in Chicago.
It seems like a lot of fun to me, I gotta be honest.
There's a little joke, after John Lee Hooker's done with the song, which takes about 5 minutes, and some guy's like, "You didn't write that song?" He's like, "I did write that song." And then, after the musical number with Aretha Franklin, they open the door, and they're still fighting about that song outside.
Yeah, and on all of these, you hear the whole song. It's not like one of these musical numbers where you'll hear a 45-second snippet from a song or a soundtrack where it's just a little ditty. They play the whole song every damn time in this movie.
I'm gonna go with your little description, the whole ass song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
This movie is the whole ass song.
But yeah, they gotta get Murph to join back up, and Aretha Franklin's like, nuh-uh, not without showing me a little RESPECT.
Nice.
Did she say that? I don't actually remember.
No, she didn't really say it, but it would have been a better song to play.
I was just kind of thinking about how delicious 4 fried chickens and a Coke would taste.
I just remember how Murphy's acting was supremely terrible.
It was fucking atrocious.
And also how everybody in the restaurant eating was completely annoyed they had to be interrupted by a musical number.
Yeah, because between Murphy's god-awful acting, like a fucking cardboard cutout, just, I'm mumbling my lines. And then Aretha Franklin trying to come out and act, who was also just a more animated cardboard cutout, ones that had the motor on the arm to wave.
She did good. She just did good. But in comparison, the insert musical number.
Oh my god, and then they started singing, and this is the first time that I was just like, nope, fast forward. I'm not fucking doing it. I'm not. Yeah. I knew what I was in for. It was too much.
Which is a shame, because the music is very good, but movie-wise, it needed to be a little bit more snappy, you know?
Yeah, once you're about 45 seconds, 60 seconds into one of these musical numbers, you got what's going on. You know what they're saying.
Yeah, fade it out, move on.
But okay, they do the whole thing. He agrees. He's like, all right, that's cool. It's almost a joke. He's like, yeah, that's cool. All right, I'm going. I'll see you later.
To which Aretha Franklin replies, shit.
End quote.
All right, and then in rapid succession, we get another one of our amazing, fantastic cameos.
Boom.
Don't you mean a boom, 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 boom? Can we just add a musical number in the podcast?
Pow, pow, pow. Okay.
That's 2 straight podcasts, by the way, where we've gone. Thanks, ZZ Top.
Just like Ray Charles, we didn't see this next scene coming.
But yeah, Ray Charles. They go to this music shop to try and acquire some instruments somehow with no money. They go in there, and Ray Charles is the proprietor.
And he almost kills a kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Murder.
It breaks his heart seeing kids going that low these days.
And then immediately into another musical number. This keyboard ain't got no pop. This piano's fine. Wiggle my head, I'm playing Ray Charles. Mm-hmm. And again, I was like, "Yep, I get it. Let's move on."
This was one of my favorite musical numbers during this. I will say, like it was at least a little fun. I liked it a little bit.
That's pretty good.
But they're there to buy stuff. They need stuff. They need amps or whatever. And he's just like, I assume I'm gonna need to accept another IOU or something like that.
I just want to rant a little bit that they bought an entire band's worth of equipment to the tune of $1,400. God damn it, inflation! $1,400 is like a goddamn guitar nowadays.
Oh, G.I. Joe. But yeah, they get to make a phone call in a Bill and Ted phone booth.
And Carrie Fisher just happens to roll by and just like chucks a grenade at him or something, or shoots another rocket at him. Oh yeah, a flamethrower, and they shoot off like a bottle rocket. All right.
Yeah, because what else is
down? Fucking change goes everywhere. They don't acknowledge the fact that they were just hundreds of feet in the air.
Good news. That's about $7.50 worth of change, and they just start clamoring over it.
Did you get the Ghostbusters reference in there? Who are you gonna call, Jake?
That's kind of crazy, seeing how that was like 4 years before they made it.
I know, but
yeah, like when that happened, I was like, "Is that no? It can't be because that didn't exist yet." What?
Yeah, but do you think that's something he carried over? Is what I'm saying.
And the next thing you know, Chandler has a whiteboard full of just like scratches and fucking squeegee things or whatever, trying to connect the dots.
Yeah, little pins with the yarn strings.
Yeah. Anywho, they booked this gig at like this country western restaurant where they only showcase two kinds of music, the only kinds of music, country and western.
I'm gonna stop you right there. They did not book a gig there whatsoever.
They stole a show.
No, they stole it. Yeah, they just showed up and was like, "Yeah, I'm the band that's supposed to be playing here."
At that point, you snooze, you lose.
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing at Roadhouse, you got to play by your own.
Roadhouse.
We finally get to see the aforementioned the namesake of the film, the Blues Brothers, perform.
And it's about damn time.
And they try to light up the joint with that classic Steve Winwood song, "Gimme Some Lovin'." And those dang old cowboys, they just
ain't no Hank Williams.
And the stage is behind like chicken wire. I guess there is a good reason for that because these buckaroos get wild.
You think they're throwing shit at them because they hate the music, but it doesn't fucking stop.
Nope.
Ever.
That's how they celebrate. They throw more bottles than there were thrown in Rumble in the Bronx.
Like, you'd think they would have switched off to, like, cans or, like, I don't know, beer on draft or something by now. Like, they got to be tired of cleaning up all that glass.
Well, it helps with the recycling costs.
They're not responsible.
They're not responsible.
So the band's kind of just like, what do? We can't play our songs. It's like, let's play the theme to Rawhide in its entirety.
Yep.
Twice.
At least 1.5 times, for sure. That's what we have to do. I'm not gonna lie.
If there was one song that I would have listened to in this film, this was it. They played it, and I went, "Oh man, that's Rawhide." And then I sit there and smiled as bottles busted and fluids sprayed upon Dan Aykroyd and Jim Belushi as they just sat there stoically singing this song.
But we don't just get 1 or 1.5 songs here. We get a second one because we get a glorious cover of "Stand By Your Man," which gets the Cowboys weeping.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that "Stand By Your Man" was some ass. Like, this sounds awful.
They were trying something different.
Yeah, it didn't work. Didn't work.
To be honest,
fucking fired up Rawhide again. Just 2.5 times.
That's all you got. It's like that magician with one trick. Just pull the rabbit out of the hat. Got him.
The people in here, when they celebrate, it's like that fucking, the early 2000s wrestling game celebrations whenever the crowd would just have that one animation and they would like arms raise, arms shake, arms lower, arms raise, arms shake, arms lower.
You could tell that they didn't have too many of them because they would like group together 2 or 3 of them. Like, wait a minute, that's the same guy.
Yeah, just shake around, look happy, and he's like, okay. But yeah, they want to get paid after the show, and they made $200, but they drank $300 worth of beer.
We didn't get charged for the drinks when we walked in, so we assumed that they were on the house for the band.
I mean, I feel like that's pretty normal. I feel like this guy, old Bob, is just trying to get out of paying the band.
Yep, old Bob's being a big old bitch.
Old Bob needs to crawl back into his bunker.
He has that like southern what do you call it? Like he's really nice, but he's really serious at the same time. That kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like a double edge. He's like, I'm very polite and I'm gonna murder you.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you fellas sure owe me a lot of money.
He's like, we're gonna go outside and get that. And then when it goes outside, there's like the scene with one of the band members right in front of the fucking neon sign with a hat.
I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where like they go on location, and then the director is just like, I got an idea.
Dude, you know it'd be totally fucking cool. Stand in front of that hat, bro.
I don't think that's what John Landis sounds like, just being honest. I haven't heard him talk, but I don't think it is.
I thought they were going to somehow get the good old boys, which are the country fellas who were supposed to be performing, to have to pick up the bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be something like that, and then they just left.
Yeah, they just went, I gotta get, like, he goes and talks to the guy and all this shit. They set up all this stuff. It takes like 5 minutes just for them to go, I'll be in the car, and they get in the car and leave, when they could have just the car and left.
Yeah,
And
like the whole thing about, do you have your union membership card? Oh, well, there's gonna be a $200 fee to perform here tonight. He could have said that or something.
Yeah, but none of that. They're just like, what are you doing? And he's like, I don't know. I'm talking out my ass. Get in the car.
Just a scene unfulfilled.
Yeah, the movie's just like, hey, let's play a joke on the audience again. They loved it the last time we spent 20 minutes doing that.
Hey, they expect that there's going to be a joke here. Wouldn't it be funny if there wasn't a joke?
So you're saying the joke is, there is no joke. And then the executive just goes into his office, shuts the door, muffled gunshot.
It's just a dull pop stuff.
Yeah, I think he likes it.
Yep, well, they get in their car and they ride away, and you know what? Them Duke boys are at it again, shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yep, now they've got the Good Old Boys. That's the band name, by the way, in case you didn't pick up on that. The Good Old Boys.
Oh.
No harm.
Yeah, they are. They're on their ass too. So they've got several groups of peoples trying to catch up to them.
The cops see him speed by, and the cops ran into the back.
Those are the same two cops that pulled him over the very first time in the very beginning of the movie. So they're just like, there's no fucking way that just happened. So as soon as they start to tail them, they pull out into the road and smash into the Good Old Boys. And it's just like, they're on a mission from God. Nothing can touch them. Everything is a coincidence.
Coincidences, huh? Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit?
I like how as we're going along, we're like losing energy. But like, it's not a bad movie.
Like, I had like 2 little glasses of tequila before we started, and now I'm drinking this beer, so that's my excuse.
We show like a little clip as we're getting ready. Like, you know, I'm getting my phone, I'm going on Skype, Brady's getting ready, and it cuts to you, she's like, yeah.
He's got like a beer hat on with the 2 cans on the other side and the straw.
Like one of those really big novelty foam cowboy hats, like Turd Ferguson.
Oh man, what you got there, Bert? That's my hat.
The next thing that I have is the Sweat Lodge.
Yep.
We gotta go to the one guy we know and just like beg for a better gig.
Yeah, they got to get that money.
Yeah, he's like a booking agent, but he kind of also just looks like a sleazebag. I don't really know this fella. I don't know his backstory.
Well, they
how he
threatened to
looks.
blackmail him about his adulterous habits, and he's like, fine, I'll book you in this big place. You got the gig. And this is the joke.
The joke.
No, you do it. You do it.
We've learned earlier in the movie that Jake has some dirt on him. He's going to blackmail the guy, so he agrees to get them that really big 5,000-seat gig up north. Fantastic. And this entire time, the back and forth, we just see Jake and Elwood and this gentleman. Back and forth.
They're naked in the Sweat Lodge.
Yeah, they just have a towel on covering their little blues bits. And then Jake's just like, sweet, come on boys, medium cut. Turns out the rest of the band was stark naked in the room too, and they all leave.
All pressed into the top right corner. It's one of those bits to where when you describe it, it's like, I guess, but when you see it, it's pretty fucking funny.
It's 100% a sight gag, and it's flawless.
But now they got to spread the word, and they do this by handing out all sorts of posters and having a giant Dr. Seuss-like speaker atop the car.
I like how they practice safety instead of like having to drive with one hand and microphone in the other. He had it taped to the ceiling, just dangling there,
yelling whatever Belushi was yelling at him.
You couldn't really hear it either. At least I couldn't really make it out through that speaker. It sounded very like, "I'm not sure, we got this ladies' night, you got the $2 cover."
It's just his very thick Chicagoan accent. Just tonight, one night only, the Blues Brothers. We're gonna be playing. It's gonna be so good. It's ladies' night tonight. Come see that one night show. Hey, I don't know where I was going with that.
Jewish Chicago dog. It's got all kinds. It's got crazy things on it. Chicago.
But now, after all this driving around and self-promotion, the boys are out of gas.
The boys are out of gas. The boys are out of gas.
This is another scene that goes nowhere. He has to get gas, and so he's waiting and waiting and waiting. He steals something. I don't even know what the fuck he stole because it never.
I think it was like a box of
windshield wipers or something.
No.
Yeah, like I was like, this is gonna go somewhere, right? And then he meets a woman that he sets up a date with at a motel later in the evening. And again,
after swindling her for $90.
Yeah, neither of these things go anywhere.
This was 1980. How did he get $94 out of her?
She's like, sure, whatever.
Yeah, she's clearly British, so she doesn't know what a dollar is. So whatever.
I guess that's fair. By the way, this lady is played by former supermodel Twiggy.
The fucking keyboardist or whatever for Marilyn Manson?
Yes, her. I think he was a bassist, wasn't he? I mean, to be fair, she is kind of a beautiful people.
You know, she was a beautiful people. $93 for the gas. Meet me at the hotel. We're gonna bone. But then I'm never gonna show up.
It's kind of whatever. Like, I get that the movie has to show them kind of helpless. You know, they have no time to get there, but they have to wait for this gas truck to show up so they can get there. But
yeah, that's the whole thing. They're like just waiting there for a while for a gas truck to fill up so they can go. Yeah, I guess.
It's kind of whatever. It's all whatever.
Oh man, we have to wait for gas. Cut to the boys doing whatever it is they're doing because they're setting up in the meantime, and then come back.
I mean,
like, oh man, we got the gas. Let's go.
To be fair, the musical number that the band plays to cover for the boys is phenomenal.
Minnie the Moocher, yeah, that was fucking legit.
It's wonderful. It's like classic crooner music at its finest. It's great. I love how the band is shown as what they think they look like as they're playing and not how they actually are with their like swanky outfits and stuff and everything.
Set and costume change is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So how'd they get so many people to show up to this gig on short notice on Thursday? This is a Thursday, by the way, because he says specifically that gas, he's always late on Thursdays.
Well, the thing is, if you saw that little poster when John Candy had it, when he was like calling for the cops, it was really cheap cover.
Yeah, $2.
Yeah.
I mean, was $2 really cheap back in 1980? I remember there being shows for $5 in like 2005 when I'm like, that's too many bucks. I don't want to go.
That's too many bucks.
I like that. I'm gonna pull up an inflation calculator. So $2 in 1979 when they shot this movie would be a whole $6.15 as of today.
Yeah, that's too many dollars. I don't buy it.
That's too many dollars. It was a nice place, so like paying $6 to see a show is just, it's fine. It's kind of whatever. Like, what else are you gonna do on a Thursday night? Watch Mr. Rogers? Fuck, whatever. I don't know.
You can watch Rawhide.
Oh, hey!
We got the extended intro version where it's all 10 minutes of the song.
But skipping ahead there, the boys get their gas, they have to park under a bridge, and they sneak in to the tune of the song that Minnie and the Moocher is playing, which is really fucking cool.
And once more, there's something really good about the energy of that song. It's just everybody's having a blast. And a little bit of history behind the song. The gentleman who sang that, who actually sang it, he didn't want to do it Like at all, they had to film it twice. Once in front of an empty room to get the coverage, and then once in front of the live audience. And he hated it. Like he was almost got into a fist fight with John Landis until he actually got to perform it in front of that live audience, and it breathed a whole new life into the scene.
Well, that's cool. But in the meantime, while they're sneaking, they're also gluing down the gas pedal to the good old boys.
And you remember, Elwood worked at a glue factory. That's where he got the glue. That's the payoff.
Thank God, because he couldn't have just stole it at the gas station.
No shit.
I mean, that's some high quality epoxy, you know? Can't just get that at any old, self-serve.
But Minnie and the Moocher, they wrap up, and it's immediately back to no sets. Cops are all like brewing around as the Blues Brothers take the stage.
And even John Candy's curious, like, let the boys perform. I came all this way. Let's see what they got.
I haven't even heard the music yet.
Yeah, they ain't going nowhere. They start performing, and it's fucking crickets. And then the crowd slowly warms up. The onstage chemistry here between the Blues Brothers is really fun, and it feels genuine.
Yeah. And they did tour the country, like, as a pair of musicians, like an actual thing or whatever. So by this time, they were like an actual unit.
An absolute unit? Yeah.
So we get to hear them perform a few songs, and then the Blues Brothers, they dip out. They leave some of the cash for the boys.
Earlier, I said $6 for a show ain't too bad. Then I realized that's $6 for fucking 2 songs. I'm pissed.
Well, you got to see Minnie and the Moocher too. He was an unscheduled guest.
That's $2 a song. That's too many bucks.
There you go. So they duck out. They go through this little underground passage, and guess who's waiting on them?
Carrie Fisher.
Princess Leia. She's down there with an M16.
Oh, fuck. I guess Carrie Fisher.
You guessed wrong, sweetheart.
She starts shooting up the joint, blatantly missing them like a stormtrooper when they're like 10 feet away. And Jake appeals to her feelings, like, it wasn't my fault. My car broke down. I ran out of gas. My friend came in from out of town. There was an earthquake. Just don't kill me. And the one time in the whole movie, he takes the sunglasses off. He looks her right in the eyes, and she melts.
And then he gives her a kiss and throws her ass in the fucking muck, and they bounce.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We have a full tank of gas, a half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
I don't think we actually got the number out there. So they acquired the amount of money needed for the orphanage.
And now they're pressed for time. Because, what was it? The tax office was going to open like in 11 hours or something? Or excuse me, not 11 hours. It was going to open at 11 o'clock that morning.
They got a long ways to go and a short time to get there.
I didn't think
So Smokey and the Bandit are racing toward Chicago at this moment.
Yeah, they are.
With the entire Illinois police force behind them.
Looks like
probably 100 cars.
Yeah, it looks like whenever OJ had that slow speed chase. But then we're gifted with the runaway Winnebago.
Aren't we all?
Just, they fucking go through a barn and land in the water.
Don't you say a goddamn word.
Yeah,
and that's such a good scene.
This is just another fucking long car chase. Like, just lots of ridiculousness. Just a super long car chase.
Yeah, you could just add the Benny Hill theme in there, and it would have been
just
right
the
at
whole,
home.
By the end of this, you got the whole fucking the army.
You got the whole ass state.
You got the National Guard. You got the police. You got Nazis. You got fucking everybody on their tail.
It's a Benny Hill scene. John Candy's sitting in the back seat with his arms crossed, and he's just like, man, Duke boy shenanigans. Car 55, we're in a truck.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's bloated, but it's a half-hour car chase. The last half hour of this movie is fucking great.
It's
my favorite part. It's all good. I can't help it. It's just wacky.
Use of unnecessary violence has been approved.
Yeah.
There's a fucking really cool shot of the chase where the cast, I'm guessing, the Blues Brothers themselves, actually appear to be driving this car at breakneck speeds. And they're like taking these turns, and it looks real. The reason I think it looks real is because as they're taking the turn, Belushi his fucking fat is being warped to the other side of his body by the G-force being applied to him, and fucking Dan Aykroyd looks like at any moment he's going to die. You know, he's just like, oh God, and just really trying to hold on to the wheel. There's vibration in it.
I like how Dan turned into a skeleton and John Belushi turned into John and Belushi. Well, back in the day, nobody gave a fuck. Like, Chicago wasn't whatever back then. I think they got that whole road sectioned off to where they could just speed down there like 120.
Dude, they were fucking zooming.
I agree. It wasn't sped up at all. And then they crashed like 300 fucking cop cars in the middle of the road. This is like a testament to what you can't do anymore. Like, there's no fun.
Look, I'm just glad that the fucking cop cars crashed, because at this point the sirens had fucking wore me out. Just forever.
You gotta lose those stars.
Yeah, country music and the justice system has failed. Perhaps fascist America can stop these madmen on a mission from God.
I like it. Just put it on the movie poster.
So they're driving, they come to a bridge. Uh-oh, they're going to fall off the bridge. No, they hit the brakes. They put the car in reverse. Somehow, by putting your car in reverse, turns it into a Matchbox car or one of those like old, what were those, tech decks? You know, the little skateboards. You just fucking hit the back of it and it goes flipping through the air.
It does like a backflip through the air and it lands behind the Nazis as they're chasing them. So the Nazis turn to the end of fucking Greece and they go off the end of that road and fly all the way across Chicago.
That's how physics works in Nazi land.
I started laughing because they go off this bridge. It's just a bridge. And then suddenly they're dropping from the fucking stratosphere. Like they're over the fucking, you know, Empire State Building or some shit, whatever that fucking gigantic building is over there, and it's just so fucking big. And
That's the
Sears Tower, whatever. Fuck Sears.
Formerly known as Sears Tower.
Whoa. All right.
And so it's dropping from like above that somehow, and it's like, what the fuck bridge did they just fall off of?
Dude, it's Nazi physics. I told you. We've seen this shit in Hellboy. They do crazy shit.
Is you is or is you ain't my Nazi constituents?
My constituents!
The driver of the car has a great line. He's just like, you know, I've always loved you. And they just have like a look at each other.
Yeah, the dude just looks at him like, what? I think it would have been even better had they just leaned over and kissed right as the car hit the ground. That would have been solid.
Oh, and then like Whitney Houston just cranks up and boom.
Yeah.
That was like 13 years later. It would have been Dolly Parton.
Ooh, Jolene.
Yeah.
That would have been an alright inclusion in this, I guess.
But yeah, they finally arrive at the tax office. They slam on the brakes, and as they get out, the entire car, every fucking piece of it, falls apart.
And Dan Aykroyd takes off his hat, just in sorrow, like, oh my god, it's dead.
No time to grieve. So they run inside the building, they're covered in filth, and they're like, hey, excuse me, where's the tax office? The guy goes, it's down the hall to the right. He's like, okay, and he runs, gets in the elevator. He fucking sabotages the elevator with some sort of spray and fire.
Well, this is the longest elevator ride in the world, because from the time it took them to get from the ground floor to the tax floor, the police show up, the state police show up, the U.S. military shows up with the SWAT team as well.
And they get to set up snipers on the other, other buildings.
Shows up.
Yeah. They got this place locked down.
So, with literally every authority figure in the city of Chicago chasing them, they storm into the tax office to pay taxes. And there's a back in 5 minutes time. And they fucking calmly wait.
That's great. I love that joke so much. Like, this whole movie was just like mad rush to get this finished. And they get there, and there's like a back in 5 minutes sign. Like, the guy's on break. It's hard to explain, but it's good.
The cops are all like, hot.
That's exactly what they were like.
They had that one guy rappelling just like a lonesome hut, just hut.
Just all by himself, like he got left behind.
Yeah. Right at the end, they pay the guy the $5,000. He's writing them up, and as soon as he swipes that old-fashioned little receipt check thing, then click, arrested. And also, there's like 40,000 fucking people with their guns drawn right in their fucking face.
And then they're playing in prison.
They're in the jailhouse now.
Yeah, this is just
In
the
the
last
jailhouse
scene,
now.
and it's a fun scene. The whole jailhouse rock scene.
Except for, like, security, not the security guards, the prison guards would have fucking immediately started, like, firing onto the prisoners for rioting.
That rock and roll riles people up.
Why was the rest of the band locked up, by the way?
Aiding and abetting.
They didn't do a damn thing. They played music.
That'll learn them.
Oh, you're guilty by association.
That kind of music's forbidden around here. We only like two kinds.
Country and Western.
God.
You boys is miscegenated. Yeah, but that's the end of it. We get the little happy times with all the other people to show you the amount of actual blues talent showcased as cameos, which is absolutely incredible. It's
there's a whole lot of cameos.
True tribute to the genre and the best use, to me, of celebrity musicians in a film that I've seen to date.
What, you didn't like when Vanilla Ice pissed himself and That's My Boy? That's crazy.
I like the movie.
Well, Blues Brothers is a good movie, but watching it to review, the biggest flaw is it's too long. There's just too much. It's too much. It's a little too much.
For what it is, it needs to be like a good, I'll say like hour and 25, hour and 30 minutes. But it's like 210, 215, something like that. There's just so much filler. They could trim that down so much.
Other than that, it's still a lot of fun. It's quirky. It's silly. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I don't know. I think it kind of wrapped up pretty tight. I think if they would make a sequel for this, it would probably get pretty terrible reviews, and I would probably not watch it.
So that was the Blues Brothers from 1980.
Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you know when we've got another one coming. Fuck, that's not what you do. I'm drunk, guys. I'm sorry.
Don't forget, folks, that we have all sorts of social media. Remember, we have an Instagram, a budding Facebook following, a Twitter account, and an administrator who's wearing sunglasses. So hit it.
And as always, fuck this noise.
Agreed.